bid it out, it's going to be it's exactly. So get it done at 2, you get charged for it. And we, after the next job, we charge 4 and get 2. So in anytime, yes, we have decent equipment to do stuff. It's like,
hey guys, really quickly, just so you know, Nicole, Nicole will be helping you guys with the certification. You guys got any questions, you can talk to her. What's really simple about it is tomorrow, just make sure you bring a device, because she's going to all day tomorrow. She can just text you, test. Yeah. She can text it to you. We don't need an email or any of that stuff. You're going to have to give us all the information for the certification process anyways. Well, actually, put them up tonight when we close. Guys, this is Christy White. She's from San Antonio, Texas. She runs Big Guns Power Wash. Guys, give her a big round of applause. She's going to remember to talk really loud. She's going to tell you her journey with unsolicited proposals, because I still didn't tinkle yet, so I'm going to go do that. And I'll be right back. She's going to tell you about that. On a reminder, she's going to tell you about $80,000 agreement. She's going to tell you how it took 2 years for a $54,000 one to call her, and she didn't even realize what was wrong. And she's going to tell you how, by not doing it sooner, she could have been way more successful.
Hi everyone. So I met Ron in 2014 at one of the national events that UAMCC had, and he was larger than life. And basically in 2014, he told me I was listening to too many people, and I need to get my head on straight and focus. And I was like, okay, whatever, and stuff like that. So he would always tell me about this unsolicited bidding, and I didn't believe him. And I was like, okay, whatever, you're just blowing smoke and everything else. So it comes down to 2016, we meet up again, and he's like, are you going to do this? I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. So Darren and I, that's my husband back there, we decided in 2017 we were going to do everything Ron told me to do. So every Tuesday morning, we would go out and do live demos in front of restaurants, shopping centers, and I would have my information there. Well, things started happening, but all the while I was sending out unsolicited bids, and I was like, okay, no calls, but he's like, just keep on doing it, Christy, just keep on. So every month I would send out more bids, and I had the regular routine. And so he would send me messages, are you out on a Tuesday? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? I'm like, yes. So I had a better way of going into a restaurant than Darren, because I'm a female. Let me walk right in the back door. So I got to know managers differently than a male, because they're counting money, it's crazy. The plumber would let me in the back door, they didn't care. I was here to see the manager. I always knew Bob, John by name, whether I knew him or not. I was like, okay, this is kind of crazy. So let me see how this works. So I get a call, and I sent it to a Gold's Gym. They're like, we don't do the pressure washing. I was like, okay, well, who does? Like this management company. So I was like, that's great. Can you give me their number? And so I go over and can I do a demo for you? Because I know you already have somebody, and it's in between seasons. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now, Ron? How do I approach them? Well, the guy was showing up at the wrong times. It's a requirement of, you have to work between these hours, do it this way, or else. And I was like, okay, I can do that, no problem. So she told me, she said, you're aggressive, but not too forceful. So I was like, because I kept on showing up every week. I was like, hey, I'm here, I can help you. And I see all your problems, let me do it and stuff. So that ended up turning into a really big job. And the other one that he was talking about was a restaurant group that took me 2 years to get in the door with them. And I've had them for 5 years. So, and it's just regular maintenance. Every 2 weeks, I go and clean them, and it's easy. And so that's what I do. I only do maintenance cleaning now. I gave up all my residential. I gave up all my one and dones. I only will do maintenance. And
you don't want to, I don't believe that.
I do a lot of free demos. I do a lot of free cleanings because I'm at that point where I can do that. I don't mind cleaning the dumpster. I don't mind cleaning a half a door so it looks really bad when they come to work the next day. And so I will kind of booger up their property a little bit. If they call me back and ask me to clean it, I will clean it and everything else.
There's always a one and done price.
Yes, yeah, it's expensive. My one and done price for our restaurant is $950. And they look at it and they're like, what?
But they've done it.
They've done it. I've had ones that will not go on maintenance, and they'll pay me $950 to
On
be there
call.
an hour, 2 hours, yep, on call. But I want the weekly, I want the monthly, I want the residual income, and everything else. But in 2017, when I really put my work into it and did what I was supposed to do, we built up 3 rats. And so we had 3 crews out there, and it's a one-man show at night. I do not do 2 men at nighttime because I went out and watched them, and one was sitting in the truck, one was texting, one was, and one was doing all the work. And you know what that happens when you have 2 people that are upset with each other. So
Unless you're twins.
it's different, and everything else. But Darren, he worked at the post office. I had to learn how to run the business by myself and how to train guys. So everyone will ask me, "You're a female, do you know how to pressure wash?" Yes, I do, and stuff. And I go out. I don't mind working at night. I'm up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning now. If I have to go out and do something to fill in. But right now, I kind of have streamlined. 2020 gave me a eye opener of I had too much in restaurants. So when all the restaurants got shut down, I had to pivot a little bit and be like, okay, I need to diversify a little bit more and kind of, that's what you have to do, reevaluate and everything else. But
The pivoting, we're going to tell them what you did. You pivoted and got better accounts.
yes, and I got rid of the ones I didn't want any longer. So, you have to chase them down for payment. You got to always ask them, beg them and stuff. They're not.
You guys got any questions for Christy? Because the thing that I wanted her to tell you about is that here's how people do this thing. They'll go home and they'll start the unsolicited. They'll send out 100 unsolicited proposals. Then they'll call me in 6 weeks and tell me it didn't work. Okay? I think she told you that she did that. And 2 years later, she closed the $54,000 restaurant. Okay? 2 years later, from the unsolicited proposal that she sent 2 years before, and she stopped doing it. Okay? Then Darren picked it up after they closed the restaurant. And then you proceed to close in total about 300,000.
Yeah.
About 300,000 in the next 18-month journey. Okay?
But
So-
our biggest failures in this business is we stop doing what works because we think we know more than, we listen to somebody else, or we think we get lazy or complacent and stuff, and things are running and everything else. So that's my biggest thing is when you start this program, keep on going and stuff. And I did all my unsolicited bidding all through COVID. Even though I knew people weren't buying at that point, I wanted my name out there, and they know who I am in town. I used to walk in the offices every month and visit, and they know. I even had restaurants be like, "Oh, manager Dan's not here. Come back. He'll be on the schedule tomorrow at 3 o'clock." And I would show up at dinner time. I'd call and say, "Who's working tonight? Who's the management on duty and stuff?" And I would close deals right while I'm doing it. My family's sitting right there and everything else because I want to show them I eat at your restaurant. I care. So it's all about team effort.
That works.
So, is that good? Anyone have any questions?
Maybe you have some questions for me.
Do you do interior and exterior?
No, I only do exterior.
Give Christy a round of applause. I'm going to bring up bring it up, because I'm going to hum through this. Guys, this proposal is on a group called Commercial Only Musgraves. It's on Facebook. How many of you guys here see me on Facebook? How many guys here? Just about everybody in the room. Okay. So if you go to my group, Musgraves Commercial Sales, or Musgraves Commercial Only. You just spell my name with commercial. The group will pop up. All these presentations and about 5 other ones are on there. This is not a presentation that I'm going to give a new person. Have you ever done my unsolicited proposal program? Justin, ever? Have you ever done my program ever unsolicited? Never. Okay, the dumb question, okay? Why do we send an unsolicited proposal? Has anybody got the dumb answer?
He wants business. Get your name out there.
So you can do what?
So you can put your company's name and the services in front of them?
Yeah. I've owned a lot of businesses. So the guys don't know that. I still currently own a lot of businesses. But the one thing I couldn't stand about some of the businesses that I owned is you had to literally stand on the corner and flag people into the business, right? I mean, if you have a retail operation, like you got to drag people in your door. You got to figure out how to get them in, right? Like you guys would put a guy out there dressed like a pressure washer on the corner, and you bouncing around.
Tried that. Everybody kept trying to steal.
You go, you point that way, and you try to get them into the building, right? Because if you get them in the building, you can make a sale. So this is on my journey. It's about 10 years after I sold my fleet wash division. We're sitting around going, how in the hell can we get more commercial business? Because we like the commercial business. And I said, why are we waiting for people to send us a request? Why are we waiting for people to call? Why are you? Why are you? You ever ask yourself that question? Today when you leave here, why are you waiting? Okay? All these commercial buildings here have a budget for cleaning. They're 20 years old. They spend the money every year, don't they? Send them a damn proposal. They may not use you, but maybe they will. 9 times out of 10, they will. And why do you think they use a guy that just says a strange proposal? They didn't ask for it. They just got it. Why do they use you? What's the number one reason? Huh? I still can't hear you. No. Maybe that's a reason. That's one of the reasons. That's not the number one reason, though. That's a reason, though. Save money because you were cheaper. That's a reason. Not my proposals. My unsolicited proposals are usually 10 to 20% higher than the market.
Reputation.
Yeah, you just did it.
Reputation.
Oh, the number one reason they're lazy. Winner, chicken dinner. Did you get a shirt? Go over there right over and get a shirt. Go get it. Go get one right now. Go do it. Got a winner over here. Number one reason. Did you guys hear that? People are lazy. You're making the buying process what? Which is a presentation that you need that's on that page that you can read through. That I tell you that you've got to make that buying process what? Easy. Got to make it easy. Nothing easier than if you send them the price. They got it right there. They sign it and send it back to you, and you schedule it. Everybody's going, man, I want some of that. It happens. It happens. I can tell you about not $1 million contracts, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. They came right back through. Remember, I washed in the 1900s, so we used fax machines. Everybody know what those things are? They come right back through the fax machine. Because we would fax those right through the fax. Now you would email them, you would mail them. You always use mail. Even though we know the post office is on the extinct list, you still got to mail it. Because people don't open their emails, do they? Do they? They don't open their emails. So an unsolicited proposal is just a proposal that they didn't request. That's what it is. You want an unsolicited proposal to turn into a requested proposal. That's the whole idea. Once they call you and engage with you and want to know more or give you more properties, that's no longer an unsolicited proposal, is it? Now they just requested more proposals. So now they go up a notch in your hot buyer list because they're going to become more valuable. I told you guys this. I choose who I send these to. I just don't throw these things out there. I'm choosing who I send them to. So I'm going through a process of vetting the customer. I want to know that they're going to pay their bills. I want to know that they've got a big budget. How do I know they got a big budget? Because they got 700 properties. They got a big budget. It's a big budget. I want some of them. I don't want all of it, but I want some of them. Okay? You got to have things to accelerate. We're going to show you some things to accelerate the unsolicited process. 5-point marketing is like a number 2 presentation that I give, but we're going to touch on it, but we're not going to go over it. But it's in that group. And those are some tips on how you expedite and make that sale close.
Rob, what are you doing to make yourself aware of that potential customer being in that area for which you want them to be your customer? Because that there are certain things you're looking for.
I can't make your criteria because you ain't got no customers. You know what I'm saying? But as you start building relationships with people, you're going to have people that you don't want. You want to fire them, you know. And then there's other people that you don't want to fire. You want to try to build a relationship to do business. But if you want me to create your criteria right now, at starting out, I always suggest to people to start with restaurants because they're easy. They're not the best to have. They're at the bottom of the barrel. Jeff built a career on gas stations. I hate gas stations. Okay, that gas stations aren't anything that I want. But I got a guy in Austin that's doing. He used the unsolicited proposal and the demonstration technique, and he's doing like 18 stations now, and he's getting 800 to 1,100 a station, and some of them are being done every 2 weeks.
Well, my question is that when you're looking at a potential customer, you're saying you only want to.
Did you hear what I just said? They're willing to pay $800 to $1,100 every 2 weeks for washing. Jeff will tell you that's way over the average, isn't it? So that customer qualified for him to work with. If a guy says, I'm only going to give you $250, what are you going to do? It's not my customer. You know, in every industry, you're going to have a cheapskate. You're going to have somebody that's trying to get something done for nothing. Okay? Those aren't your customers. They're just not your customers. Database management, man, it's important. If you don't have something to manage this, you will get lost quickly. Absolutely quickly. Take some from the front, man. Get these big smiling, pretty faces in here. All these good-looking people. This is the skinniest crowd we've ever had. Normally washers, you go down south, man, these guys are 6'6". Yeah, that's what it is. They're eating that. I don't know what they're eating down there. They're feeding them something. Content so there it is. Here's your answer. See it? Choosing your customer. I already gave you a little bit on the opening. I said, hey, don't use, guys, this is all up there. You don't take pictures. It's all online. If you want, I'll give you a copy of it. I don't care. There's nothing top secret about this. It's all out there. I teach this to these two guys right here, my competitors. They're going to be running around writing unsolicited proposals all over town. Right? They'll be following me out of my house and asking, where's Rondo?
I told you we saw you last time.
I called these guys up. I was eating at a place, and they were eating at the place next door. You were in Cafe Rio. I was eating at Barlow's Pizza. I saw your truck out there. I called you up. And you're here because you told me you're coming anyway. It's cool. But you guys got to choose this. I told you this before. The most successful people that I know in this industry have a niche. Okay? I know guys that clean just garages. I know guys that just clean bus stops. I know guys that just clean kitchen exhaust hoods. But I'll tell you, and it's not to beat the residential game down. There's a lot of guys making a lot of money doing residential. Okay? Ty hopefully will come here. He's a buddy of mine. He does about $1.8 million right here in the valley, and he does nothing but residential. Okay? He sold AZ Power Wash, and he started a new company. What's his new company? Wash Pro? Wash Patrol. Wash Patrol, and he's starting a nationwide franchise operation. And I guarantee you, he'll be really very successful at it. Who here knows Jeremy Jennings? You guys know Jeremy? He'll tell you about Ty. He sends Ty a lot of work. Yeah, maybe Jeremy didn't want me to tell you that. he sends him a lot of work. Ty's a master, man, at marketing online. A master. Jeremy is though too. If you guys don't know Jeremy Jennings in Southern Cal, tell me something about Jeremy. That's why you guys are here, right? He told you to get your butt up here.
He said don't miss it.
He said don't miss it.
He said to come fishing.
Oh, he wants to always go fishing. Always wants to go fishing. But these guys all know these things, and they already know these things. These guys have been following me for years. Okay? I just told you that I priced them higher. If you put a bid together and it's unsolicited, you put them higher. Why is that? Anybody know? I'm vetting the customer, ain't I? Okay? I love it if they call me and they tell me I'm too high. They wouldn't have called me to tell me I'm too high. They're lying. And they're considering it if they call me. Understand? They're going to waste their time calling me to tell me I'm too high. He's not going to do that. Did somebody bring me coffee? Oh, man. She went to Starbucks and didn't give me no coffee. No shirt for her.
What was your response to them? They called you too high.
Man, I just can't.
If they called you and say you're too high, how would you respond to that?
What's the budget? What is it?
A lot of people don't ask that when they do businesses. You want to look at it, then you just go ahead and put it in instead of just asking. You feel like
Man,
it's the thing that they
I'm gonna tell you guys something. If you call me in 2 weeks and go, Ron, I gave him the proposal, like you said. I talked to him on the phone, and you call me back and you ask me, Ron, when should I call him back? I got no crystal ball. Why didn't you ask them? Ask me when you call. I wasn't listening to the conversation. I don't know the person you're talking to. That's the number one thing salespeople make. That's the number one thing. It's not the follow-up. They don't ask when to follow up. Forget about the following up. They don't ask when. Don't call me and ask me. If you do that, guess what you're going to hear? I got no time for stupid. Click.
It's always opposite what you think. They say follow up a little bit. What's a little bit? They'll say,
No, I give them a date.
yeah, they always
Yeah.
tell you something.
I give them a straight up date. I tell them, if they don't tell me when I'm going to call them, I'll tell them when I'm calling them. I tell them what I'm doing. I don't ask. First of all, I don't. Stop asking people. Don't ask anybody anything. Tell them what you're going to do. Tell them what they're going to do. Tell them what they need. Okay? You ask them what the budget is. It's beautiful that you're talking about being too high. It's a perfect time for you to say what's the budget. Because if you don't know what the budget is, then I don't know how high it is. Sometimes you ask them, well, how far off am I? It's the same thing. You're going to say 20%. High. Well, you know the budget. It's just a clever way of them telling you the number, but not telling you the number, right? And then if they say 10%, then we got to talk about raising the budget. You know, I don't talk about coming down and everything. I talk about, hey, how can we get the budget moved? Is it going to take an act of God? Can we do less and get in the budget? You know, wait, is this apples to apples here? Or are we talking apples to oranges? Okay? Because to come down to the budget, sometimes you have to do less. And that's okay, as long as you tell them you're doing less. But don't go wash half their sidewalk and say, hey, did you only take half the sidewalk? I went right down the middle, only washed half. That's not cool. Not cool at all. Never send solicitation to the unsolicited proposal. And you'll hear these numbskulls on here that are listening, that think they're copying what I'm doing. And they're, wow, you always send your insurance. You always send this with it. You always send that with it. You send an introduction letter with it. No, don't send anything with it. You send the proposal. That's it. That's the next mistake when you come. Ron, I sent 100 proposals. I haven't gotten a call yet. What do you send me? I'm sending an introduction letter with the proposal. Blah, blah, blah. Why it went in the garbage? Okay. No introduction letter, just the proposal. The official proposal, the official document. It's a document, isn't it? Because it's really a contract. But we don't use the word contract.
Is it because it gets diluted with your marketing material or something, or is it just because they're used to seeing just straight?
Boy, when it becomes a solicitation, it becomes garbage.
Okay.
When it's an official proposal, it's official. It's a document.
So they think that maybe someone
Who
else.
do you think I'm sending? Who do you think I'm sending proposals to? Okay, I told you to send restaurants. Who do you think I'm sending? I'm sending proposals to billion-dollar developers and property managers that are third-party management in charge of real estate investment trusts. So it's a document. And by law, they're going to put that document in the file. So now I'm trapped in the file forever. Until that property is no longer that property. How long is that? 20 years? 20 years? What's the largest unsolicited proposal, Christy, that you know about? And who got it? You can say today. Why not? It's on camera. We're going to let the cat out of the bag. You can call the guy and ask him if you want. Steve Button, Clean Fast Florida. How many hundreds of thousands? $780,000. Unsolicited proposal. He got the job. 3 years. The portfolio had moved. A woman plucked the unsolicited proposal out of the file, called him because he was one of only 11 that picked up the phone. Most of them were already what? Out of business. And he closed the deal $790,000. Hey, he's still doing it to this day. It's increased almost $1 million. Okay? That's the largest one I know today. I know another fellow that did a $500 and some thousand dollar one. Those are the two biggest ones. Those are life-changing moments.
Just want to make sure that it's clarified. You're saying either mail or deliver that document to the client that you're trying to send that to, right?
The best way to deliver an unsolicited proposal is in person, but mailing is second best. Email sucks. It sucks. You can, but again, you got guys who are telling me that they've had success with email. You know, there's a guy online recently. I sold $8,000 and I sent out 500 emails. Good luck getting paid, because all I know is somebody that happened to read your email and then bought from you like that way, they're probably desperate. And they probably didn't pay their past contractors and can't find somebody. So they will use you and abuse you. Okay? Resubmitting proposals have to be resubmitted. We just told you that these properties have been around for 20 years. They have a budget. They wash every year. They have annual, monthly, whatever their washing is. They decide that they're going to redo it again. So every year, keep the proposals and resend them in there. I don't care if the person didn't call me or answer you. If anybody that's listening to some of my YouTube videos, there's a gal on there. Her name is Fran Mitchie. She called after 11 years, wishes that she would have called me sooner. Did you hear that? 11 years. We sent her proposals 11 years in a row. Her account was worth about $380,000. Okay? But after 11 years, she made the switch. And when she made the switch, you can listen to the video. It's on YouTube. I've got the live conversation talking to her. She says, man, if I'd only done this sooner. Do you want to hear how many contractors she went through? 23. 23. And she didn't want to pay the price that we were charging. But when she realized after she got done paying the price, she could actually, my sidewalks are clean. I don't have to follow up with you. I don't have to chase you. I don't have to call you and bother you about it. It's always done. I know it's done. My tenants call me and tell me how wonderful it looks. Okay? So there's something to be said for charging the right amount of money. Okay? You've got to give them that kind of service. Big tip that you're going to get here today. Steve Button is not going to like me talking about this. The guy that got the $700,000 unsolicited bid, because he hates when I tell people this. So, Johnny, how much square footage is this in here? You know? You don't? Okay, we're going to say this is probably 4,500 square feet. Okay? And if it's not, it's not. But we're going to say it's 4,500 square feet. This hotel charges you basically by the square feet, right? If I rent a smaller room, they charge me less money. If I rent a bigger room, they charge me more money. Tenants pay their rent in square feet. If you rent a 6,000 square foot building, a 3,000 square foot building is going to be cheaper, unless location matters, right? That's going to affect it sometimes. But predominantly, the real estate market has an average on what you're going to pay in rent. Wow. So that GLA, which is gross leasable space or gross leasable area, is everything that these people work with. Everything. They determine the rents, the CAM fees, which is a whole other class that you need to know about, okay? Because anytime you have a common area maintenance fee, you want to do business with them. Why do you think that is? The budget's there, and it's not their money. And you go, what are you talking about? It's not their money. It's not their money. Who pays the CAM fees? Either the homeowner association will pay the CAM fee or the tenants. The billionaire that owns the property is not paying for the cleaning. His tenants are, above and beyond the rents. But Google my name with CAM, and you'll read about that. You need to understand that. The reason you need to understand that is if you're going to go after these type of clients, you need to understand what they do. Okay? You absolutely have to understand what they do. But through the GLS, okay, you can go to a website. You can actually go to my website, put in the square footage of the building, and the proposal will automatically generate you a price. Automatically. Okay. And if you know a group's budget, what do you know for all 700 properties? If you just know one. You know their budgets for the other 699. Because guess what? It's going to be the same. Nothing different. Most of your gas station owners, they want you to charge by the unit. They don't really care how many pumps they got unless something's larger. What's that? Talk about that, Jeff. You don't want you to put you on the spot. Who has multi-unit locations? Christy, do you charge any of your restaurants, like the groups, are they all the same prices or are they different prices? Okay. Did you guys hear that? So for a fast food place, she's going to charge them $475 a month on a monthly fee, depending on double drive-thrus and some other conditions. But if it's a normal fast food place, she's going to charge the same fast food the same amount of money. A family dining place, she's going to charge them $375 per month. Okay? And it doesn't make difference whether it's a Denny's, whether it's a IHOP, or whether it's a Carrabba's or Outback, whatever it is. Same price. Okay? Quit making things complicated. Because I know that's going to be the next thing you're going to ask me. I'm thinking about going out after the Outback Steakhouses and I sent unsolicited proposals, and I want to know how much they are. I went and looked at all 90 of them. Yeah, what'd you find out? They all look the same? Right? They're all the same, aren't they? Why go look at them? Why waste that kind of time? They're all the same. Your eyes opening up yet? Are they wide? Never thought it was that easy, did you? Did you think it was that easy? GLA, guys. Gross leasable area. You guys definitely want to always try to use the square footage of the building I know to determine the exterior cleaning. Okay? You got to remember, LeBron, some of them have a whole 300 foot more sidewalk than the other one has. 300 feet? 300 feet, that's like 12 more seconds. You know what I mean? You can't worry about that stuff. You can't worry about that. Couple ways to accelerate these things, man. Photo demos, video demos, phone calls, sidewalk stencils. I talked about this, USPS, email, and then I'm huge on text messaging. Christy's been with me, seen them. I'll close clients right on text. And they'll sign the contract and return right on text. Physical visit is always great.
What is the sidewalk?
What is the what? I don't use sidewalk stencils. I just use videos now. I need to change that. Just use videos. Just use social media. Man, I know you're old enough to remember, man. Hey, listen. You remember this? What am I doing? You're old enough to know what that is. What is it? It's a Polaroid. That's right.
It's what?
It's a Polaroid. I know some of these guys don't know what I'm talking about. That was a machine that took an instant photo back in the 1900s, and it spit out the end of the camera, and it was a picture. It was magical. And it had this little area on the bottom that you could use a Sharpie and give a price to the person after giving their photo demo. But now we have this cool thing called Facebook, YouTube, right? So you don't need to do that now. Now you can just show up at their property and show them their dirty place right online in front of everyone. In front of everyone.
How do you go about doing the live demos?
How do I do about it? You see me on video do all the time. I show up, I roll it out, I start the camera, I say, hey man, Ron Musgrave's here. We're gonna clean this dirty, nasty place. Show them how filthy it is.
You just do it.
Why am I gonna ask something? I'm just asking. Are you married? Are you guys married?
No, don't bring that up.
Oh my gosh, she wants to marry you. We got to open the can of worms there. I'm gonna come on up here, Nicole, because I know you know a little bit about unsolicited proposals. So come on up here. And after we went to Polaroid, we would send them these. And these were like assessments of their own property. Because we couldn't send them a video back in the 1900s. So we sent them these. These were actually made for their own property. And then there it gave them their 7-day, their 15-day, and their 30-day price. Keep in mind that this is from the 1900s. Okay? These are 1900 prices. Nicole here is, Nicole, is from Sunbright Supply in Georgia. And Jeff's listening. He doesn't want her to tell you anything. So it's not Nicole, Jeff. I promise. Talk like this. So tell them about. Okay, so you know Jeff. Follow my program. Jeff, I think his first one was $60,000. $60,000. You got any other monsters you want to know? I mentioned names. Ones you've done for them that come through.
We got a inside hookup. Not really an inside hookup, but we did one thing for the state of Georgia, and now we've done the Capitol building for Georgia. We did Martin Luther King Museum. We've hit some big government properties by just getting in with one. Started with an unsolicited bid.
Started with an unsolicited bid. They sent an unsolicited proposal. The facility guy probably called Jeff over there. Jeff knew to go over there and show him what you're probably clean areas. And then next thing you know, they're doing all the work. Thanks, Paul. Round of applause for both. Hey, remember, you can see her for your certification certificate, guys. She's going to be doing that tomorrow. She'll issue you guys the test. I don't use whiteboards. I can't stand them. But you've got to keep track of something somehow. So just use, I would use my phone. I would simply just, don't make it complicated. Everybody's got a notepad on their phone. Use it. Your phone is really smart. That's why they call it a smartphone. Just so you guys didn't know that. Okay? You've got to get that under control. Whatever you're going to use for your database, you've got to figure it out. Do it before you start. That's why that's in here. Okay? You can't start the process without doing this. If you do, you're just going to have a bunch of videos, a bunch of photos, and you're going to have everywhere. And you're name it. As soon as you start doing these on a regular basis, you're not going to remember what you did last week. You're just not going to remember. You're not going to remember. It's just not going to happen. You think you're going to look at a piece of concrete, oh, that's over at 35th Avenue in Northern. That was the Toys R Us. You're not going to remember. You guys got to get your database together, your system together, and run it. Again, your phone's pretty darn smart, and there's a lot of applications on your phone. I'm not telling you that you got to go out and buy an expensive content management system, but you can build one on your phone. I'm going to tell you who thinks Outlook's the most powerful program in the world. It's the most powerful program in the world. It really is. I'm going to tell you right now, if you can get Outlook on your phone, whether you're an Android user or whether you're an Apple user, it'll go on your phone either way. It's an awesome tool. Awesome tool. We talked about the qualifying. We talked about checking what your market value is. Market value is if you get enough property managers together or enough pro buyers together, and you've worked 20 or 30 of them, and you've honed in on their budgets because they told you, you're going to be able to develop a market value and a market price. Now, you have to be deciding, can you work for that market value? That's the thing that you have to realize. Opportunity will always meet. It'll present itself. Just like Nicole was telling you there. Remember, that's the number one people will buy from you on this system, is people are lazy. And you're always trying to convert an unsolicited into a requested. And if they called you, you got a chance. You got a chance. If they call you pissed off, you got a bigger chance. Okay? If they're pissed off, they care. Okay? That is the reality. Some of you remember what the number one mistake salespeople make. Here is the number two thing the salesman makes. They get the appointment and they go in to talk to them and they don't have the price. Do you know how stupid you look sitting across from somebody at the desk that gave you a half an hour of their time and you don't have the price? That's the number two mistake that salespeople make. Number two. Do you see how this is very advantageous to that person? If they're calling in to meet you, they already got the price.
following up to build that relationship with the people that you already have, so not, unsolicited, but is there a certain thing you're going for? Or how do you approach them so they don't feel like you're being pushy? Because you said people liked how you were not pushy, but you were still upfront. What type of,
I try to create relationships with everybody. That's where I'm different. When he used to tell me I had to go in and sell something, I was like, I can't do that. That's not me. That's not my personality. So I took it as the approach of.
How many boardrooms were you in the first day?
3, I think we went into. We walked right in with property management. I was shocked. I was like, oh, this is not real. This is not going to happen and everything else. And, but no, I create a relationship with them. Even the restaurants who are not really who I'm going after, I try to create a relationship with them because it makes it easier for me.
I do not create relationships with restaurant managers.
See, I do it a little bit differently.
I could care less.
But I'm hoping that when they go somewhere else, and that's what I found during 2020, everybody has been so displaced and moved around. So now that opportunity is starting to open up. But since I run SubFX too, that's our other business, I'm actually using unsolicited bidding in that process. I'm going after bigger, different type of companies outside of our industry, and I'm now starting to send unsolicited bids because I learned this. So, it's a great tool to use.
awesome?
Did you think it was easier, like, you have an advantage because of your husband, you all working together?
Hold on one second, guys. Hold on. He asked the question, how do you figure out market value? I kind of told you that. As you're going through the unsolicited proposals, you're going to get phone calls. They're going to tell you they're too high, or they're going to tell you what their budget is. You're going to be able to determine the market value after you've done about 20 of those, and you've got at least 20 people honing in on what their budgets actually are. And I also told you, once you know what their budget numbers are going to be the same for all the other like properties. They're going to be the same. And I'm going to give you a little thing. Community management charges by the door. They have a door price. So if they have 365 units, they're going to charge $65 a door. That's what they're going to pay. Okay? That's how it works. That's how they figure their stuff. Because they know that apartment is all going to go back to what? Square footage. Make sense? Okay. Parking, I'm going to tell you one symbol. John Cornban's going to hate me. Sorry, John. Parking garages. Hey, Ron, I got a parking garage. How many levels you got? And how many spaces per level? Did you hear what I just said? Am I going down there to measure it? Am I going down there to look at it? It's a dirty garage. It's nasty. I already know it's nasty and it's dirty. I got to go look at it again. I'm going to go look at another dirty, nasty garage. I'll be down when it's clean. I give them the price by the parking space. But I ask a couple of different questions. I ask how high the ceilings are. Do you want the ceilings done? Is it a two-way or one-way garage? Because that matters. Because if it's two-way garage, it's going to have more concrete in it. Okay? And I ask them how many ramps and how many emergency stairwells. Those are the only factors that are going to change that price per foot, what I'm going to charge them per space. Those are the only factors. And garage guys want to make things too complicated because, they don't want anybody determining how they come up with the prices. We walk down there and we measure them. 3 million feet.
Did you find it advantageous with you and your husband?
Hold on, Chris, I got one question. I'm going to get you.
No, that's right.
So basically what you're saying is like to send out the unsolicited proposals, let's say 20 properties. So and then is that how you're going to figure out first space or?
It's how I'm going. Some other things play a factor. The use of the garage. If it's a high-end condo, $1 million condos, the garage, those cars are Lamborghinis and Ferraris. It's not going to be dirty. But it doesn't mean I'm going to charge you less necessarily. I just know what I'm up against. Because truthfully, sometimes those are more because you might have 1 million square feet and someone's going, Ron, you missed a piece of bubble gum on the 4th floor.
But you also have to worry about the noise when
Right.
you're doing
Oh, the noise.
and the customers that you're around.
Right, and if you spray a Ferrari, if the guy walks in and gets it on his match, you're replacing the interior. So, just go on my side and just fill it out and it'll pop up right in front of your face.
I have a question for you.
You guys should be selling that. You should. They did it. Okay, I got this guy's question right here. What was it again? No, let's let everybody hear it. Let's go. Go ahead. What was it?
When she was going in to do a sales pitch, you said it earlier, it's 82% now the women are in charge now, basically.
Is that true?
Yes.
We had one man.
One man.
Out of like 91.
Well, my question to her was it advantageous on her part now that she has her husband that they would swap in this case, hey honey, you take care of the sales pitch here, or vice versa, your husband was going to go in there and
Hey, this is a question you can answer. He's asking me, would it be an advantage to send a woman in, Lonnie?
not every situation.
You want to tell him about that situation that you did 15 years ago or no? Wessex. You want to tell him? This is the example that he's asking for. So do you want to tell him about it? I'll take another question while she's getting up here.
Ron, got one here? You said you don't care about building personal relationships with managers. Who do you care about?
People that aren't broke.
So managers are broke.
Restaurant managers are broke. They make $23,000 a year, maybe $50,000 a year. The budget's a couple $1,000 a year. Why do I want to waste my time with it? That's a Charlie. I've got a form on the line. You can fill that out, and I'll get to it when I can get to it. I'll tell you when it's scheduled. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to call you. I don't want you to call me. I got no time for it.
That's so awesome.
Now, if you're a real estate billionaire, okay? Hello, Mr. My phone rings right now. There's 5 numbers on my phone. That phone rings, and I drop that live feed, and I walk out the door in the middle of this presentation. You know it's one of those guys. Because I'm going to answer the phone every time.
24/7.
By the way, my phone's tethered to other people. They see that number and know I'm here today, and they didn't answer the phone. They're probably fired. Go ahead, Lonnie. Tell him. Preface it up. He asked about how when we used to do things, we would send different people in, and and I never actually even sent the same person in. She would always go in and get introduced to her clients by other salespeople, and the salespeople would also introduce the other salespeople to their clients. We never had one guy go in and just deal with the client. We always had a secondary guy that they also knew. But we had a very unique situation in this thing, and I'll let her tell you, because she was the only one that was going to sell it.
Yeah, when I first came to work with Pro Car Wash, it was Ron and a few other of the guys that were doing the selling. They've been trying to, how many years have you been trying to bust into Wessex? Like 3 or 4 at this point?
Oh, no, probably about. No, that was since '96, so it's probably.
So yeah, okay, so yeah, that was like 10 or 12 years.
10 years.
And this is like when the property management whole demographic started changing. And Wessex was a completely dominated female property management company. And if you did,
It was a little bit more than dominated.
You were not getting a sale at all. They would not even give you a meeting at all. I walk in there, I get a meeting, and I'm thinking I just am going to talk to one property manager. No, I walk in and all 5 of them were sitting right there waiting for me. I walked out of there that day with 4 properties signed.
And tell them how many times you came back with a signed contract and I told you to rip it up.
Oh God, too many. And I'll tell you what, that right there with the salesperson, the most frustrating thing on the planet. But Ron had already had, I didn't realize the history that Ron had with these clients, and they were just, the P of A's. And he's like, yeah, no. So being the salesperson, because I liked my commission, it was frustrating, but at the same time, I kind of had to understand that I was going to spend more time just dealing with his craziness than,
I really choose my customer.
Yeah.
I do.
Seriously.
It's just about, and even if we got a signed agreement, if I don't like the guy, we'll rip it up. We'll call him and tell him we're not fulfilling it.
And he has done that. And I've also seen him fire clients too. That's funny.
But don't burn your bridges, because I'll tell you a story.
What do you do when you want to send one to like a large university that might have 100 buildings? You pick a building, or those two buildings are gonna be the same?
No, they're gonna have, that university is gonna already have a request for proposal, an RFP. You go find the RFP and you get, put your numbers to that RFP and you send it in. And then a compliance officer is gonna call you because the difference between a university, something that is funded by government dollars, it's gonna have a different criteria on how they have to handle that request. And they might, like I said, they might be pissed off. Because you're making them, what are they gonna do? They're gonna work. They're gonna work. And it's not time for them to get that proposal. What I would do if I were doing a government thing, I would find out, I would get the request for proposals, and I would just comply with all of the details on it. Because when you're talking about the government, you're gonna have to do a walkthrough with all your competitors on the same day. So you're gonna get to see who, everybody that's bidding that property, they're gonna walk through that on the same day. And they're gonna walk you through and tell you what their expectations are.
So is that RFP something that they're used year after year?
They're online, man. If you Google them, like that university's RFP's online. If you Google it with the RFP and Google the university, you'll find them online. Guess what else you'll find online? Budgets. Because they use Google Docs. Boop, the budget for the entire property pops up. You know how much they're charging for landscaping, power washing. It's kind of funny. Try it.
What are some things not to do?
Sit on your ass. Get off of your ass. You gotta do it, man. You really do. You gotta do it. If you leave here today, we have dummies that'll come back next year like, where's he at? Where's my Las Vegas guy? He didn't sit on his ass. He took what he learned last year, and you guys heard him. He increased his business. I don't know how much percentage, but he's back here again because he's hearing. You're hearing to say, this is not the same thing I said. Yeah, but you just went and did it, and it helped you. And you took, whose advice was it? You said, oh, Marcos. He uses LinkedIn, and Mark will be giving that presentation today in the afternoon. It's a great presentation. Make sure you watch it. Connor Eubanks is going to be a fantastic. I've never seen Connor present, but I've talked to him many times, and the guy's, he's a genius. He's a genius, and that's coming up right after lunch. So, anything you want to say in closing? I'm going to wrap this thing up.
How many of you guys with residential eyeball your property versus science behind it?
What do you mean by science?
The actual
There is no eyeball in it. Hey, Connor, can you take your eyeballs out and loan them to your salespeople? You tried? Yeah. Can't eyeball anything. It's all a science. Have you guys watched my production rate video? Watch that video. If you want to know how much to charge, that's the video. They'll tell you how to know. They'll tell you exactly how to charge. Okay? I can't tell you what you're going to charge. Everybody calls me and goes, what's the price on this? I have no idea. I can clean a 30-day account that probably takes you a day and 40 minutes. Okay? I know guys that can clean gas stations. I can't clean them in less than 3 hours. That's why I hate them. They'll do it in an hour and a half. Okay? Because they've got the process down. Okay? The production rate is what determines what you're going to charge. Okay? And not because you're faster, you charge less. That's not what I'm telling you. You might charge more because the gas station doesn't want to be closed down. Okay? You're costing them money. So if you can get in and out of there faster, somebody might be willing to pay for that, right? If they start noticing you got the pumps closed down, Jeff, what happens? You're going to get a call, right? Yeah. Hey, Jeff, you were there last night and the store did half the revenue. They're not going to like that. They're just not going to like that. Anybody else? Because we're going to wrap this up. We got an hour and a half for lunch. We need to be back here a little bit before 1 because we're going to start Connor right on time at 1 o'clock, guys. I want to remind you, because Johnny asked me to, don't sit at these tables outside. That's for reception tonight. That's free food, and you guys got 2 drink tickets. Who didn't get 2 drink tickets? You didn't get any? Go see. Can he still go see Jade outside? Is she out there still? Go talk to Jade. If you didn't get your drink tickets, guys, Jade can give you the drink tickets outside. She's going to give you a little packet. Has somebody got that little packet so I can show it to them? Nobody's got it? There it is, right there. See it? Look at that. She'll give you one of those little packets right there. It'll have the 2 drink tickets in it. Show them that one again there so they know what they're looking for. Hold that up. Show it to them. That's what they're looking for right there. If you don't have that, that's got your 2 free drink tickets. You're going to need that. Remember, I asked you to stay away from that area over there. Even though they're violating their own rules out there right now, they're out there smoking. Don't go near those tables because they're all set up for a party tonight that we're having. F9's putting it on. It's going to be a grand deal. I'm going to introduce this gentleman here one more time. He's going to give a couple of hats away. This is Mark Tulliano, guys. We joke around, but he gets on his video. Everybody's got their little catchphrase. He says, I'm Mark Tulliano, internationally known. If any of you guys follow him on YouTube or Facebook. You on YouTube also? Facebook, YouTube, he's got a couple of these things. We're going to randomly give away. We're going to give whoever you give away. Who does? First of all, who does paver sealing? Anybody do it? There's one right there. There's one right there, and there's one right there. So those 3. The lady in the back. Raise up your hand. Raise up your hand so he knows. Who? Okay. We'll do it. Hey, where's my hat?
I got your hats back here.
You didn't bring my hat, man. You're wasting my time.
What the other ones do? The other one?
Yeah, bring up some closer hats. I'll give away a couple of hats. Okay. Right before I'm going to give away a $100 bill. Right before Connor comes up. Tomorrow, right before we come back from lunch, or when we come back from lunch, that's the cold water unit. I think it's $2,300. It's right back there on the floor. You guys can take a look at it. I'll be giving that away tomorrow, right when we come back from lunch. Okay? So please don't be late coming back. And rules are to win. Okay? The only thing that you could be wearing to win anything is you got to wear a shirt or you got to have a closer hat on. Okay? You asked a question, right? So you get a closer hat. You asked a question? And you can still win the $100 too. Just because you're a distributor doesn't mean you can't win. Anybody can win. Okay? We're not going to exclude anybody from winning, except you can't win the cold.
Come on, I can sell it.
Can't win the cold. Guys, Mark Tulliano, tell them a little bit. I'm giving you your 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Tell them what you got. I'm going to get it sent on break right after you're done. Tell them what you do.
We do products out of Colorado. We do paver sealing, Deckers paver. We do stamped concrete. Yes, not that kind. We do that. Get paints and get old sealers off. We got an enhancing sealer. Tomorrow we'll be doing a demo with the Eco 20 after we clean these garbage areas, and then we'll spray that. And then we got one travertine. So we pretty much are all natural stone. We have different sealers. I've been in the business I come from the paver world. I used to be an installer. So 42 years. I've got with Eco for the last 6. And they're products. I love their products. So I've used them all.
Yo, I thought you were going to hit in the face.
Pretty much. See you tomorrow. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah! Lamar Man. All right, what's up? Give a round of applause, guys. Big round. Let's do it. Hey, everybody smile. You're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and something else, all simultaneously. What a great program that is, isn't it? Everybody's going to see you on all platforms, man, right there. Technology, isn't it crazy? Guys, see you guys at 1 o'clock sharp. Who's got a vacuum recovery unit? You got one? Come on up here and get this. I gotta get a picture of you with it. You got one? You do? You got a truck mount? You ever use one of these? No. I'll get you one. You'll never use anything else. These are awesome.
know, and I'm up there tomorrow.
It's today.